Very true. Let me see.
All right, got our recording brewing here. We're ready to go.
Well, I didn't have a whole lot today, but I wanted to hit you guys up with one. Is Zuckerberg came out and made this big announcement of things he's doing. He's changing Facebook to make it a better experience, better place for people. And so there's been a lot. All week I've been in different groups and different conversations. You know this thing. You know this effect, John. When the search engines make a change, everybody's panicking, trying to figure out what exactly to do and what not to do, how it's going to impact you. So I've been digging into that on the Facebook piece because it's basically the equivalent of an algorithm shift and change. And so here's the bottom line.
That was kind of the topic of conversation at Craig's mastermind group this week.
Interesting. What did they have to say about it? I'm curious. Did they have anybody have it figured out or?
Well, nobody really knew, the impact of it and all that kind of stuff. But in essence, it had a lot to do with the interconnectivity, like who you're connected to and how your ads would display, and possibly charging you a larger amount to display ads to people that are not your friends.
Well,
which I don't know that that's the case. I don't see that would be a very wise idea on their part.
No, they're not going that way. But the funny thing is, as I go over this, you'll see the similarities to a Google, search engine shift. And then the beauty of this thing, in the back of my head, I'm like, John teaches it the right way so that it doesn't matter as much. It doesn't impact us as much because we weren't doing it the wrong way anyway. So here's what happened, with all our current climate in the United States and everything, all these guys are under pressure to fake news and these different pieces like that. So, Facebook, now one of Facebook's other problems that they really don't talk about is they're running out of ad inventory. They got greedy and they're selling to everybody, and there's so many ads and stuff they were putting out there. They were running out of inventory. So this is also part of that motivator of why they took this action. And basically they're saying, the interconnectivity part you talk about is, yes, more things that you engage with is what's going to show up for you. So for example, Thomas is in the Facebook group a lot. So when he first logs in, he gets all group stuff. He doesn't even get his friends stuff because that's where he engages the most in. So in order to fix that, so just in case anybody runs that where your feed is showing you a bunch of stuff that you want to change, you just have to go back in and like other things. It's going to keep adjusting. So he went back in and started liking a couple of his friends, and it readjusted and brought his friends back. So it really is based upon the content you engage with. They're going to try to show you the most of. Now, the other side of that is they did a test with a couple of audiences in like 3 different countries, and they came up with this crazy 2-question survey to determine whether the news is valuable to you or not. And the basic, it's like one question is like, what news service do you use? And then, do you consider these valuable or not? And it's like, yes, no type of thing. So it was like a horrible way to figure this out. But basically, it only is going to really impact news sites. News sites, because they can't run fake news, bad news articles, bad content, which is the whole issue. When they did the test, they suffered horrible referral rates from Facebook because Facebook wasn't running their stuff anymore. So if you're putting out bad content, then it's not going to go. Same thing with the SEO side of things. It's a bad content issue. So from the paid traffic platform, because there's less in the feed with some of these news sites no longer showing up, now he's freed up some more inventory. So now you can go, so there's more ads availability, but he's also become very critical and kind of picking and choosing what type of ads you want to run. So when you're running these ads, where you want to go is you still want to do, again, telling a story, writing engaging content, and potentially putting something in there where you're trying to literally get that engagement, create a conversation in your ad almost. Because if people respond, if people react, then that's the high engagement figure, and that's going to carry it and give you more weight to it. So that's all very similar to an SEO shift, good quality content, engaging content. And it also lends to education-based marketing. If you're educating the people, giving them that kind of content, again, they're going to engage. People are going to watch it, read it, look at it, and it's going to carry. So I firmly believe, because we do it that way anyway, it's not going to change our behavior pattern necessarily. We weren't throwing out, pure just ugly, spammy ads. Basically, we've been doing, education-based stuff. We've been talking to a need, people's need, picking, what's important, emotionalizing the benefits. So for us, it's not going to change. It actually is going to, again, weed out some people that weren't doing a good job. So same type of benefit, and it's freed up some inventory. So that's really the net result it's going to do at this stage. Nobody's really changing, in our space, changing what they're doing at all for that.
Hey, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
I see people, like, when they're on Facebook Live, they're like, to get engagement, they're like, drop a 1 in the comment box if you agree with me, or put a flame if you feel this way too. And so they're getting people to comment that way. Is that an active way to get engagement on Facebook? Is that a good thing to do?
Well, let me tell you where, and that's part 2 of the next evolution. What that is, so the next piece. So let me go back to the announcement of Facebook and stuff like that. So one of the things we're the groups and people I've been talking to, we're trying to find, again, John will understand us, then get ahead of this thing, the next way, the next big piece to engage, the next, opportunity out there. The messenger bot is where that leads to. That's the next one they're talking about. So last year, I mentioned messenger bot. This year is really going to be important, and people are really trying to figure it out. So here's the trick of what they're doing that. You can set the messenger bot up to react to something. So when they tell you to put a 1 in there, you can tell the messenger bot, everybody that puts a 1 in there, comment to them. So that's the real reason they were doing that. It was allowing you were identifying yourself. The messenger bot was capturing you, and if they've set the whole thing up correctly, you now have given them your information, and you're in a new funnel. You put yourself in a new audience based on your engagement. So that's the real reason. It does help the engagement, obviously, but the guys that know what they're doing, they're using that to build up a Facebook mailing list, if you will, and they're doing it. You're segmenting yourself by that action. Does that make some sense? And I'm going to show you guys. I'm actually going to again do more of that as we walk down this stage. So I'm going to show you how Messenger bot connects to that piece, and when you do that, it pulls your Facebook profile literally and pops it in their audience list, and now they can market to you, and they can identify, okay, Cheryl put a 1 in. Cheryl was on my Facebook Live talking about Facebook ads, so she's interested in Facebook ads. Let me put her down the Facebook ads funnel, boom, boom, boom. And what it's done is, because you haven't had to enter any information in, you do it easily. You do it quickly. You do it. You don't hesitate to say, yeah, put a 1 in or whatever the comment is. People don't think about that, and then your information is transferred. So Facebook has made it easier for marketers to capture your information, and you don't feel the pain of, now I can put my email address, I can put my phone number in, and I know you're going to market to me. So it's kind of slick how that's being utilized for that purpose.
Well, this was in a private Facebook group, so they already it was for a product that people already are purchasing. So I didn't know if they were doing that because Facebook would make them look more credible. Because I don't know that they're not remarketing, they're already in on the product. So I was wondering if they were doing that for better exposure, better.
But even if you bought the product, if I can introduce you to another product, and that kind of goes into the other version, the other element of this is scaling. So let's say you bought my Facebook ads course, and you're in our private group. And by the way, private groups, again, the engagement factor, all these moves those up to your feed and the stamp. So it does help with the engagement. So let's not forget that. But if you bought my Facebook ads course, and we're talking, I'm saying, how many of you guys are using Instagram? Put a 1 in the box. Now you've segmented yourself into an Instagram funnel. So now I know, okay, I'm going to send you an Instagram. So they may have not, again, I don't know if these people that you were in know how to do that, but the people that I talk to, they do that. That's how they move. You bought one product, now you're going to move yourself into my next product by just be asking a simple basic question. And now I'm going to start sending you Instagram type of ads and my Instagram product and stuff like that. And it's again, it's automated. It's easy. You didn't feel no pain. You put a one in the box. I don't feel no pain because I've set up an autoresponder, and now next week you're going to get a letter, email, and go down the line, that type of thing. Ted, I see you on there. Ted, we're not speaking on any bot in particular. We're just kind of talking overall in generalities. The two bots I'm testing is Chatmatic and MiniChat. Right now, the difference between the two of them from what I've been playing with is Chatmatic right now doesn't let me do as much flexibility in the programming of the sequence and the auto responses. MiniChat gives you a little bit more capabilities of setting specific sequences and setting up different audiences than the Chatmatic does. So I'm still playing with them both, trying to figure out which one's going to be the best recommendation I can give to the group. And along with this, what's going to come with this, guys, also, not only is that functionality, but the ability to set up, I'm going to get some sample scripts and how you can set this thing up to automate some of this process for you. So it's doing a lot of the communication for you, a lot of the pre-qualifying, that kind of stuff like that. So I'm going to help you guys with that process too, along with setting the bots up. And setting the bots up on your sites if you have sites too. So you can have people communicate, come to your site as the front door. They'll be able to communicate with you on Facebook also right from your site. You can put the bottom, the Face Messenger app right there on that type of thing too. So those are the directions, business as usual with your ads. There's going to be more availability of inventory, but you still have to write a quality message. Still either educational based, telling a story, looking for engagement. Those are still important factors. Those don't change. Second thing is look to start incorporating the messenger bot as part of your process to help it with some of the heavy lifting. Let it start some of the conversation because it responds instantaneously. Your engagement numbers jump up really very quickly. We have one on ours that I'm playing with, and it's got like a quick 2-minute thing because it keeps responding. Now, by the time I get into the conversation, it's like the next day, so I got to fix some pieces of the puzzle. But basically, it makes those first couple of communications instantaneously, and it gives me good engagement numbers coming out the box for that. So that's the second element. And then I know I've been giving you guys some advanced pieces to think through. And so the third one I want to talk about a little bit today is scalability. And we ran into this discussion with a client that, when we talk scaling, especially of this of paid traffic, you don't scale by just putting more money in. That really doesn't work like that. You can't say, okay, I'm doing $100 a day. Let me put in $200 a day and get double the results. It kind of doesn't work like that. And I didn't realize people didn't kind of know that. And so the ways you scale with this, and let me give you the why. Let's say for easy numbers, your audience is 100 people and you're paying $10 a day. If you put $100 in there, that same small audience is going to see your ad way too often, and that's what Facebook doesn't want. There's an ad frequency number that raises up. As soon as that raises up, they start showing it less or charge you more. And then the user experience is bad. So just by virtue of that, if you put more money in there and don't expand your audience, you're going to create that problem. You're going to have the same people seeing everybody. What's that, Ted? Do you follow Twitter, Sue? We actually do, and we do it in stages. So Ted's asking basically, there's kind of a rule for scaling up too. You don't just say, okay, I'm doing well today, I'm gonna double or triple the money tomorrow. We do like 20% one day, then we wait 2 or 3 more days, then do another 20%, then wait a couple more days and do another 20%. So you do it in small chunks and increments again, so that the algorithm can adjust it and kind of know what's going on for you and not just go haywire because it won't like extra money. But what happens is, and again, this all leaves stacks. So all this should, in its own way, be very familiar to you guys. The way you scale up is we start with talking about one product, one problem, one solution type of thing. Now, to your same audience, you come up with the second problem or the second solution, and you send that ad campaign now to the same audience, because the audience is a valuable audience. They're interested in your product. But what may have happened is, if some of your audience didn't have the first problem, they may have the second problem. So now that's how you're scaling up. You're sending them a different variation of the problem. So like, for example, in our case, we might say, you're trying to grow your business with leads where you can't get leads. Okay, now let's another problem. How is your website? Is your website set up for leads? So maybe you need a better website. So we may approach them on that. Okay, you feel your website's good. Now let's look at another problem. Are you using the right social media platform? So we can kind of, same audience, same problem. Business owners want to grow their business, but we've gone after different angles of the problem. And that's one of the ways you would scale up, is by just doing that. Does that make sense, guys?
Hell yes.
I just wonder, guys. I say stuff, and I can only see Cheryl. So, Cheryl's you guys' indicator. Let me know if I'm making sense or not.
Yeah, we're all channeling to Cheryl.
So I kind of, and there's a couple of different ways of scaling up, but I really wanted to clear the myth that putting more money into an existing working ad campaign is not the right way to scale up. Just to clarify that, because you guys are getting ready for traffic, I'm assuming, and I'm gonna stop talking and start listening to you guys and see where you are. But when we identify the working campaigns, I don't want you to say, oh, I'm just going to double the money and I'm going to double the results. It really, the algorithm doesn't like that, and it'll go back into trying to figure out what's going on and what you're trying to do, and rebalancing out how it's showing the ads and stuff. So that's not how it works. All right, what kind of questions? Where are we at, guys, in some of our progress? It's been a long time since I've seen everybody. So, Cheryl, let me pick on you. You were doing good.
Well, I was. So the Broken Brain documentary came out, and they release every day. They release an episode on broken brains, and it's about an hour to an hour 20 minutes documentary, but it takes me 3 hours because I'm transcribing it and taking notes. So I got a little distracted with that. Not distracted. It's all good information for me, but it's kind of taking away some chunks of time that I have to do other things. But, I'm in the Facebook group. My question to you is, can you do a Facebook Live within a private group and just have it live within a private group?
Yeah, because the group is private by its definition. So people have to join your group to be able to access it. So you can go inside and do that.
And you just start recording and talking?
Correct.
Okay. Awesome.
And again, for you guys that are able to, coming in from behind the curtain and jumping in front, Facebook Live is a great way to start getting out there, talking and getting that going is huge. It gives you a chance to practice, and people are a little forgiving. And I just know from experience, the more you talk and you do it, it does get better and get easier. So I highly encourage that.
My second question was for John, which I don't know if you want me to wait until everybody's got Anthony questions done, or
no, I'm sure John is paying attention.
Go ahead.
What's happening with Steelhouse? I signed up for it, but I haven't really dove in.
I just put a link in there for anybody that wants to register for Steelhouse. It's adsuite.steelhouse.com/register.
Okay.
They just released the prospecting tool. So it is out, it is available. If you've signed up for an account, you should see the buttons in there now that I'll pull the window up. There's retargeting and prospecting. So basically you have two different suites now. You can create the ads. Another thing I realized too is I had a meeting with my rep from AdRoll, and AdRoll's doing the same thing. So AdRoll will actually make your ads for you. Now, they're not as cool as the Steelhouse. Steelhouse has some really awesome dynamic ads in there. And they've got the, the back end that allows you to use Getty images and videos and all kinds of really cool stuff. But you've got two sources, and I updated that on the ACT page. Down at the bottom of the resources section, there's two links now. There's the one for Steelhouse, if anybody wants to sign up for that. And there's also the one for AdRoll. And it looks like I haven't gotten the link yet to sign up for AdRoll. So I'll get that and I'll put that in today. But I pasted the link in there for you guys right now that are on the Zoom call. So what was did you have questions specifically about
Have you been using it yet? Have you jumped in and started to do it? I can't remember if there's a fee to it. Like, I was just wondering your basic.
Okay, sure. There's no fee to get set up with it. So to sign up, to register, there's no fee there. What you do, you get the account set up. They instantly create the pixel for you, which a pixel is just a little piece of code that you put on all your web pages. And you want to do that quickly. You want to do that as soon as you possibly can, because every person between now and whenever that lands on any of your pages, that pixel is targeting, or it's setting the pixels in their browsers for it. So it's creating a database, so to speak, for you. So you want to make sure you do that sooner rather than later. Even if you're not running ads, even if you're not ready, get that in on your site so it can start collecting the data. So when you are ready, you're ready to go. I talked to them about the prospecting, and actually I was talking more to the AdRoll guys, and I'm sure they work very much the same. And the AdRoll guys said that you could take a list, like, let's say you've been in business for a while and you've got customers for the last few years. You could take that list and upload it, and they'll use their big data sources on the back end to find a prospecting list for you to show your ads to, which is really cool. And this isn't just Facebook. With Steelhouse and AdRoll, they're not just Facebook. Facebook is one ad network inside their platform. So they're going out to the Google Display Network. They're going out to a bunch of other networks that are infinitely larger, believe it or not, than Facebook. So really cool stuff there. So the whole idea of prospecting, the more data they can collect, the more people, the longer it's on your site, the more they will figure out what type of people are attracted to come to your site. And then they'll use big data to get more of those for you. So that's really exciting to me. It's like, I'm pretty sure you were there, Cheryl, when I was on stage at Craig's event probably a year or two ago. And I said, with this type of technology using big data, it's the idea of show me your 1 in a million customer, your ideal client, your best of your best. Show me that 1 in a million and I'll find a million of them. And that's a really awesome, very powerful concept. And that's what we are now have at our fingertips. That's now accessible to us. Now, for you to show them your 1 in a million, they need some data. So if you've got a customer list, that's the quickest way to get there. If you don't have a customer list, the faster, like I said, the faster you can get that pixel collecting data, the better off you'll be. Now and the other cool thing, and I'm speaking specifically to AdRoll now because that's the conversation I had with the rep there, and he walked me through the whole thing. It was so easy to do. It was ridiculous. You could literally target people that have hit particular pages in your site, and you can create audiences. Like I'll just take my own, for example. I've got a page in there for ACT. I've also got a page in there for SEO Dominators. Very different users, very different people. I've also got one in there that is for business hosting. Again, very different clientele, very different thing. So I can say, let's create an audience for all the people that have hit my hosting page. And now it will go out and it will find people that are similar to that may be interested in hosting. It'll also create a database for me that is people that have hit the SEO page. So it'll go out and it'll start looking in big data sources, trying to find me people that are looking to do SEO or learn SEO for the SEO Dominator Club. You know, same thing for ACT. Anybody that hits the ACT page, it's making an assumption based on the fact that they're looking to learn marketing or how to do a marketing program or something like that. So it's going to create that data, and it's going to go back to its big data source, and it's going to say, who else matches this? Let's show them your ad. So really, really cool, really powerful stuff. And this, I don't see anybody in our group that this would not benefit. You know, to have that that targeted retargeting, segmented retargeting, very, very powerful. And the fact that you're building up a database for what's commonly known in Facebook as a lookalike audience. That's what you're doing, but it's for the world. So it's like, you guys, you got to do this. I'm getting in there. I've dedicated some time this afternoon, and I'm actually setting up my audience targeting. So I'm going to say, hey, I'm looking for people that have hit these pages, and they're this group for me. And
Are you doing both Steelhouse and Admiral?
Yeah, Steelhouse, I have to get in there and figure out. I had a meeting with the Steelhouse rep last week, and it happened to be the day they opened the program, and they were just going nuts. So needless to say, our meeting didn't happen that day, and then I was tied up, and then I've been gone. So they sent me the details, so I'm going to get in there and take a look at it, and I'm sure I can figure it out. I'm sure it's going to be very similar to Admiral. Admiral's actually had it out longer. I wasn't aware of it. When I talked to my Admiral rep, he's like, hey, are you using our prospecting yet? I'm like, excuse me? Like, let's talk about that.
Well, let me add a little bit to the Steelhouse thing, because I'm going to do two case studies starting the 1st of February inside of Steelhouse. So I've talked about. So Steelhouse, basically, originally their game was the retargeting. So you had to have so much traffic, and they basically, when you came, had enough traffic coming to your site, they could retarget. And kind of like John said, they could find your ideal client based upon who converted, and they would go find more. And they were really strong, good, and the system optimized for that. They've just come out with the prospecting, but that only worked if you had good traffic. So what we were doing was we were sending traffic through Facebook and Google AdWords, getting up a retargeting, and then coming back and letting them come in and take over and do that process. So, but I didn't like that. So I'm doing 2 new case studies the 1st of the month, and it's going to be using both sides. Now, again, I've said earlier, get that pixel on there. So John's kind of reemphasized it. And they got 2 different pixels. So if you do it and you don't, and they send you that email, they got the basic pixel, and then they got conversion pixel. So you have to have in mind what your conversion, you have to know what your conversion page is to make the process work completely. And either program actually literally needs to know that, because they don't know what you call a conversion, what you call a customer, they can't go find more of that. So that's got to be an end page, a thank you page, or whatever ending page you guys have on your system, on your funnel, that when the individual gets to that point, you classify them, lead, customer, whatever. Now you're saying, go find me more people that look like this. So you got to have an end page in mind when you do that. So make sure you know that piece of that. But yeah, the cost on it, no cost in there. I set up my ad spend. I set up at $1,000. They kind of, you can probably get in lower, 500, anything less, because you got to. We'll see. I'll let you guys know, what 1,000 does. And I'm doing, 2 different markets basically. One's going to be for an MLM health product, and then one is going to be for Facebook ads, actually, as a matter of fact. So I'll kind of give you guys some feedback on how that's working fairly soon. But yeah, Steelhouse is friendly to work with. They kind of respond a little bit, and they did just set up their new prospecting tool. So we'll kind of find out about that.
Have you used the ad creator in there, Anthony?
I did play with that because I wanted to, I wanted to see if it was easier than doing it Photoshop and stuff. And again, they got some good templates in there, but I think the hard part, John, is you set the bar ugly high in terms of images and messaging matching, based on the act. So they do okay. They don't do great as far as you still got to want to put your own image, upload your own images and stuff in there. I feel to get that emotional.
You might be able to use their image bank, their image library, though. So you take the template, and then you can go into the image library and use Getty Images and grab, they have some incredible stock imagery. So, and you're right, you have to match the image to what you're doing, or otherwise it might not make sense.
Well, and the source I've been using, I've been a paid member of Deposit Photos, so they're again a Getty type of group. So I'll go check and see, because Getty before used to charge a premium $1, and I got in the Deposit Photos. They had a special one day, you get like 100 photos for $100.
Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah, so I did that. I put in like $500 one day, and I've been kind of riding on that for about a year, because you don't go through that many photos, in the course of a time frame.
Yeah, no, that's great for anybody like, Anthony and I that are facile with Photoshop and stuff like that. It's not a big deal. But for you guys that are not, people that don't have Photoshop and don't have access to images, using the Steelhouse to build your ads, it's built right in. So it's got an easy editor, and like I said, you've got access to all those Getty Images. So that's a really cool thing for for you guys to not have to spend more money and build more skills, because you don't just open up Photoshop and go to town. It's the only reason I know it is from years and years of layered knowledge. I remember the frustration and the struggle when I first started, and I would ask people and they'd show me how to do things one at a time. And you look at my Photoshop skills now and it looks like I can just do it effortlessly, but it was because of layered skill set over years of time. So for you guys to buy Photoshop, you're not going to be able to do what I can do in there and what Anthony can do in there. It would be very frustrating. So that's why I really like this. I really like the idea of just having an easy to use tool for you guys to build really good creative ads and knock them out in no time flat with no skills, no tools, no cost. So this stuff's perfect for that. In fact, in AdRoll, they will do it for you. Like when I loaded up my first ad in there, my rep said, "Hey, do you want me to make the ads for you?" And I thought, yeah, that would be nice. That's a first. And I mean, next day I had ads. He sent me a full collection of ads, all sizes. I'm like, they weren't great, but they were certainly doable. They had the right copy in them. He was using my copy and my text and all that. Put my logo in there. And, the easy thing is I could say, "Hey, can you add this background image?" And he'd say, "Yeah, no problem. I can do that." So that's pretty cool when you've got, it's almost like having a built-in team without having to pay for a team.
Exactly.
Without having to train a team. That's really appealing. That should be really appealing for you guys. I mean, it's appealing to me.
I was going to say, I would almost say make it a mandatory, because like you say, John, you got to buy, a photo program, anywhere from a cheap one for $50 to, $600-700 for a Photoshop, learn the skills. And then they don't translate easy. Ads, the different ads have different sizes. And so again, the platform lets you resize and do all that stuff. So I would say use this a lot easier, a lot faster. It already knows the sizes and all that good stuff, so it just makes it a smooth transition. So yes,
Yeah.
what's in there?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's two great programs for you guys. Steelhouse and AdRoll. I would highly recommend you start both campaigns. They're free to sign up and get your pixels. Put the pixels for both of them on there. I know with AdRoll, you don't have to have a conversion pixel. You just tell them what page is your conversion page. Like if you have a checkout page, they will know, you went to this product page and then now you're on the checkout, so they can assume that you purchased that product. That's a conversion.
Steelhouse has a separate pixel, and I got to. That's the way I know, because I got an email. They're like, both your pixels are on the same page. I'm like, yeah, you said put them on. He didn't say. So that's why I say they have a separate conversion pixel they want you to put on that last page in Steelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah. So with AdRoll, it's literally is just one pixel, and then you can define the conversion page, which is kind of nice, because what if you've got multiple types of conversions? You might have a conversion for an email list. These people converted, they took my free offer. Then they next, you've got a checkout page. Now they converted to a sale. That's a very different type of conversion, because if you've got people that converted onto your mailing list, but they haven't converted onto a sale, we still want to retarget them. When they convert to the sale, we want to stop retargeting them with that ad and maybe take them into our higher end ad. So that comes back to a conversation I had in the last call about the different types of funnel. Your funnel doesn't end when you make your first sale. Your first sale in a funnel is client acquisition. So your first funnel in business, that's the most important funnel you're ever going to have, is your client acquisition funnel. That's the thing that you need to bring a steady stream of new customers and new revenue into your business. Everything beyond that, you're going to have a lot of funnels beyond that, but every funnel beyond that initial client acquisition funnel is going to be either client retention or client ascension. And what client ascension is taking them up to sell them more stuff and higher level programs, higher dollar, higher volume, long-term customer value. So that first funnel, and each one of those funnels, you're going to want a conversion on. You're going to want to know which audience has purchased what products, so you can properly market to them. And in this world of AdRoll and Steelhouse, where you have the ability to follow these people around, you don't want to follow them around with ads that are behind them. It's like marketing to the wrong portion of the pyramid. So that allows us that flexibility, which is really cool. I mean, looking at what we have available to us at our fingertips today with the technology and the ease of doing it, we didn't have this stuff a few years ago. I mean, this makes your marketing so much more effective. It's ridiculous. I mean, you can operate at such a high level that it's amazing, when you really think about what we're able to do with the technology that's just at our fingertips. And it's so inexpensive. I mean, how much would it have cost us a few years ago to try and do what we're doing right now for free using these two tools? It's crazy.
Well, the first time I tried to go to Steelhouse, they wouldn't really talk to me. They said I didn't have enough traffic and didn't have enough money. So,
Yeah,
kind of hurt my feelings for a second. They're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to get there. So,
yeah. Well, I got to tell you, they have catered to very large customers, and the only reason that I got their attention was I had some of those in my client palette, and they wanted them. So I used the leverage to work my way in with Steelhouse. And AdRoll I've found to be much friendlier for the small guys. But Steelhouse has traditionally been only for large players. And I felt, pretty privileged to even be able to play the game with their tool. And I got to tell you, 2 clients in there, we were able to, or actually 3 clients. I have 3 clients in Steelhouse, and Gwen has one of them. And on almost all cases, we've been able to leverage Steelhouse to, almost double sales just from that segmented retargeting. We've got one guy, they sell a snoring mechanism. It's this little clip that goes on your nose, and we literally doubled their sales, doubled it using Steelhouse. It was was awesome. So
So John, did I understand you to say that we can upload our customer base
yes,
to the thing,
yep.
and it creates a lookalike audience for them?
It will create a lookalike audience, and then it will start prospecting based on that lookalike audience. And not just inside Facebook either. That's the best part of it. This is like across the entire internet.
Okay, is that pretty intuitive to sign up and get in there and do that?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And that the one I was speaking to there was inside AdRoll. And what I can do, if you want to do that, I'll connect you with my rep there, and
Okay.
he'll literally set it up for you.
Oh, awesome.
You know, you sign up, you create the account, and then I'll connect you with him, and he'll literally do the whole thing for you. He'll create the ads. He'll set up the the segmentation. He'll set up your audiences. He'll do the whole thing. They're very, very willing and anxious to get people on here because they know it works, and they know you're going to ramp up your budget because of that.
So do I try to clean my list first? We have some email addresses that I know, I mean, they're customers and they buy all the time, but it's like, we set up a
It's
funky.
always a good idea to clean your list. You don't
Okay.
necessarily have to clean your list for this because it's looking at big data. So an email address that may not be good, the list cleaning would remove it. But
Okay.
that email address might have historical data that might give you insight into other users.
Okay.
So I don't know, ask the rep what he thinks, but I would say might give you more value by not cleaning it for prospecting. But certainly for communication, absolutely want to clean it. Cheryl, it's AdRoll, all together, ADROLL.
I answered Ted's question. Also about the list, so it's the same principle with Facebook. We basically don't clean the list. We sit there because what's going to happen is, even though it's an unclean list, the people that fall out and convert, that's going to be clean, and then that's what they're going to build off of is, who are you telling me is a customer? So send them a dirty list, let them clean it through their I mean, technically you're spending some money on some people, seeing that may not, but again, as it starts cleaning, going through this, and it gets more and more people that are, converting, it gets very, very fine with the data points. So it's very big. And Ted, you asked for the ad cost per impression. Not an easy question to answer because it depends on the market, the niche, what you're doing, which one of these platforms. Here's the beauty of these two platforms, as John is describing them. They do all that for you. In Facebook, I do all that for people. So there's a difference. It's a difference. They got an automated system, smarter, probably faster, all this good stuff, and they really do all that for you. So basically, with AdRoll, I mean not AdRoll because I don't do AdRoll just yet, but with Steelhouse, you just dump the stuff to them and let them take off and run with it, and they start optimizing and tweaking and all that for you. And they're just able to do it faster. I mean, I do it like every couple of days. I'm checking it. Imagine if someone could check it every 5 or 10 minutes or whatever their frequency and make these type of adjustments. So they do all that for you. So you do get that information at the end, Ted, but you won't really know it right now till you get a campaign, till you get a niche. And then that's going to actually change as you start going from a prospecting campaign to a conversion campaign. We do pay attention to that because we want to know, but at some point, when we get to the conversion campaign, that's all. We just want conversions.
Yeah, I have a quick question here for Mary Sue. I know you had sent me your email for your starting sequence, and I cleaned that up a little bit for you. Did you ever get that out? Trying to figure out if that worked for you?
Yeah, we're still. My son doesn't want to sell. He thinks that it's going to negatively impact the company name if we're selling, what is essentially expired products. But here's the thing. I was just sitting here thinking about that when you're doing it, when as you were talking. simply because before the new stock comes in, that's all we're going to have. And that's what I'm going to be taking because I can't do without it. And I absolutely know that I have customers in the same situation, right?
Okay.
So somebody really, really screwed up on this one. But the bottom line is, do you want to have nothing, or would you like to have something that's still going to work and you get a huge discount and you're able to function until the new stuff comes in? So that's where I am.
Yeah, you've actually, I can see the points on both sides. I can definitely see his point.
Yep.
And I can absolutely see yours too. And I also know that people will buy damaged goods, so to speak, at a discount, and there's a whole thing behind that. So I don't really know what the answer is, whether you should, try and do it anyway, or maybe you just created a lifetime supply of product for yourself. I don't know the answer to the question really, but I think regardless of whether you do that or not, I think email marketing to your customers on other products is going to be a really quick way for you to generate business.
I absolutely agree with you. For no question about it, that one has come to my attention, and it's like, wow, you really should have been doing this. So
yeah, and now that we've got your platform up and able to do that, if you want to pick another product, just do what you did on the last one. Create the email, send it over to me, and I'll put a polish on it, and let's get one out. I really want to see that work for you.
Okay, it's certainly giving it a try and just getting my toe in the water.
Yeah, I mean, I know it'll work. I've seen it. I mean, I've never seen an email like that not work.
Okay.
So I want to see you get that experience, and it's going to be addictive. I guarantee it.
Hey, John, could she throw an email out saying, what are your thoughts about expired dates, like some kind of a just general, what are your thoughts about it, and see who said, I buy things all the time with expiration dates, to form another list of people to then market that product to? Or
yeah, you could do that, but I totally get where her son is coming from on that, because you don't want to be known as a company that would sell illegal products. And I think when you're talking about stuff that is regulated by the drug administrations and stuff, I don't know. I can totally see his point on that. So it might be one where you just got to look at that as, call it a mistake and eat it, and let's go on and let's make money where we can. So again, I don't know the answer to that, but if they have a huge customer base.
But I still need to get the email out there. You're absolutely right about that. So I'll figure out the other stuff. One of the products has got a few months left on it, so we can certainly do that one. And and the other one, I think I'm just going to let people know that we'll give them a 18% discount if they need something to keep them going until the fresh stock comes in, because there will be people like me that say, good grief, what am I going to do in the meantime?
Yeah, another thing you could do, you could send them an email that does not make the offer, but says that you have an alternative, and if they're interested in the alternative, to contact you one-on-one.
Okay.
That way it's nowhere published, it's nowhere advertised. You're going to be making that communication on a one-on-one basis, whether it be through email or phone call or whatever, but it might give you a way to dump some of that product.
Okay.
A little bit harder, but a whole lot safer.
Okay. Sounds good. Anyway, but I will do the one product. I was going to do something else. So, but I'll certainly send an email and see how far we go with that, because that makes an awful lot of sense.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. I would.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
I can't wait to see that work for you.
There you go. Me too.
We've scratched and clawed to get this far. It's time for a success. All right. What else? Anything else? Anybody stuck or got questions or things to share?
I do. I found a source for YouTube training, so I'm going to add that to my list of things. So going forward this year, Facebook, YouTube, and Messenger are where I'm focusing at currently.
Cool. Yeah. I see a couple of marketers that are really using that whole Chatmatic stuff and really cranking it up. So that might be one of the ones. How is that coming? I know you were talking about that a little bit earlier, but Chatmatic, does that seem like it's a winner, or is that something that everybody could use, or is it kind of, it might be applicable for a few people and not everybody?
Chatmatic has some limitations on it, so I think that's a little less friendly than ManyChat. ManyChat seems to be a little more friendlier to use and stuff like that. Chatmatic is at a higher, it's harder to figure out even how to use it. So I'm ready to set it up for you. But what everybody's got to have is you got to have your sequence, what you're going to say and what you want to say.
Yeah, that's always the thing with any kind of bot. It's almost like programming a video game. You've got to know 10 steps down the line to program the game.
Correct.
You can't just program the first step of the game, because what happens when somebody takes the first step? Then what? Then now you're in churn mode. The whole idea of creating a bot is to automate things, not to put you in in instant and constant chaos.
And that was the trouble I found. I put a sample couple of things. People were actually responding to it, and I hadn't followed it out far enough, so it was kind of stopping at a point. And because I don't like to jump on Facebook personally, I was missing some of that.
Yeah, I know, because I actually programmed one of those for the Roger Dunn guys, Roger Dunn Golf, and it was like, this was way before, it was way before even Facebook was out. We set up a chat, and I set up automatic responses based on what people would put in. Somebody'd show up on the site, and the chat window would pop up, and I'd say, hey, I'm so-and-so, how can I help you? And based on what they would type in, I would base it on the keywords. And if they put, let's say they put a keyword for any kind of a driver, I would respond, or the chatbot would respond with, hey, have you seen our new Callaway titanium driver? Here's a link to it. People, if they're flying off the shelves. And, and then based on what they would reply with, it would, and I had hundreds of them. I had literally hundreds of responses based on keywords. And a lot of people didn't know they were chatting with a bot. They, I would end the conversations really eloquently based on just a one-shot deal with a recommendation to send them somewhere to buy something. It wasn't like I was engaging in ongoing conversation. I was just trying to pick up on what they wanted and send them right to it. But that was a lot of work. They paid me handsomely for it, but I remember the amount of time I had to sit in the jacuzzi just contemplating my next move with that one. It took a lot of hot water hours. So
no, that's kind of, it's a funnel in itself. So same, efforts you create a click funnel goes with the bots too. Same level of effort.
Yeah, you really gotta map out the board. Like playing chess, it's not about the next move, it's about the third one after that that's going to either make you or break you.
Correct.
All right. Well, anything else from anybody?
Have you picked a mastermind date yet?
You know, that has been heavy on my mind, and let me look at the calendar right now.
How was Craig's mastermind? Was it basically hot seats again?
You know, it was actually, there was a few hot seats, but it wasn't like it was before. It wasn't like 100% hot seats. He let I think he let 2 people per day, new people, do 10-minute talks. Basically, it wasn't really to teach us anything. It was just to allow them to be comfortable speaking to a group.
Wow.
Which, that's cool. And then he brought in one speaker that was a guy that's doing done-for-you ClickFunnels. And he was a disaster. Craig gave him an hour, and he came in, first thing out of his mouth was, "I'm not a professional speaker," which, right there tells you, okay, hold on to your hat. Here it comes. And he spent about 40 minutes talking about himself, talking about his history, his background, why he was the best thing on the planet. And none of it had anything at all to do with ClickFunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And Craig actually had to intervene and come up and turn it into an interview so he could get what he wanted out of him. But in essence, the guy was basically doing a done-for-you funnel without any information for $995.
Ooh.
So, just the fact that you would throw out a price on a funnel that's not defined, it tells me that, that's pure inexperience right there. But I had no reason to believe that this guy could pull off anything, other than, the basics of ClickFunnels, which I think just about anybody in our group has that level of skill set to point and click. So that was kind of a disaster. For me, it was just more about, I made a couple of connections that I've been meaning to make for a long time. Matt Brawning was one. He and I got to sit down in the evening, and he basically admitted that he wanted what I had. And we talked about it, and it was an interesting conversation because I basically told him all about the ACT program, and in a way that he totally got, because I was bringing the lessons back to him in the NLP format that he taught me. So that was really cool to be able to repackage that and deliver it to him. And right about toward the end, he was totally engaged. I mean, we were like, really great conversation. And right toward the end, I said, does any of this sound familiar? Because this is just all the shit you taught me. And we both laughed, and he's like, no, he goes, you got it. You've put it together in a way that is nothing like what I taught you.
Did he buy?
And yeah, he's in.
Good deal.
He's not on the call today, but he's actually in the program. He hired Justin as a tech guy inside, and Justin's been going through. He's still going through. Barb's his accountability coach, and she just got him back on track here recently. So I told Matt, I said, look, you and I are going to have to work together to get your analysis and get your strategy, and then we'll pass it all off onto Justin for implementation. So Justin's going to do all the creation, and then he's going to bring it back to me for traffic. So it's the plan for Matt is going to be me and Matt working out his analysis together, and then passing it to Justin for creation, back to me for traffic. And what I told him that I wanted out of that deal was, once we get this funnel in place and it's working for him, I want to be the one that is almost a pre-made offer to everyone he trains going through any of his packages. So that's what we're putting together. So it'll be kind of a JV deal because he realizes, you know, this is the missing piece. He can train people and send them out into the world, but unless they have this, you know, even his business needs it. So perfect. That will be the creation of a perfect referral partner for me.
Good deal.
Because he's going through, he sees a lot of people. He can, you know, he can churn a lot of people through the program for me. So that, to me, that was worth the whole price of admission right there, to go and, you know, spend a couple of days at the mastermind.
Right.
That sounds like a better deal than what he did on the live event, John.
Yeah. Well, I talked to him about that too. The fact that he is doing his live events now, and he's doing them so much shotgun approach, they're so far outside the ACT protocol that I think he can make a lot more money, and I think he can, you know, get a much higher conversion on his what would you call it, in meeting sales. You know, like when he has a conference, a 2-day conference, I told him if he runs the conference in the confines of ACT, he'll get a much higher conversion ratio, and he can totally see that. You know,
Yeah, I think it'll be much more focused. The other one felt kind of like all over the place.
Yeah. I told him, I said, that's been, you know, the biggest thing. I also gave him the example with Brian Kelly. You know, I said, Brian Kelly's made the same mistake. You know, he's got a flopped conversion ratio because he's not focused. And you know, I saw Brian the other night at one of Jay's meetings, and I told him the same thing face to face. I'm like, dude, when are you gonna sharpen your sword? And you know, he said, yeah, he goes, I've gotta do it if I want to survive.
Good job.
So, all right.
So your calendar of the mastermind, what are you thinking?
All right, you were shooting for this month.
Well, I found out now that my brother's going to stay put in Vegas until the 14th of February. So I've got a little wiggle room to the beginning.
Well, that makes that loosens it up a little bit there. How about I have the first and the second weekends of February open?
I need the first weekend because things change on a dime with him.
Okay.
So if it's possible, that'd be great.
Okay, and here's another question. Would you guys prefer to do something like that on a weekday or a weekend?
Are you talking a 2-day thing or just a 1-day get together and?
Yeah, just a 1-day mastermind thing, just to help whoever is in flow better.
I'm flexible. Yeah, I'm flexible.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other feedback on, you know, whether you would prefer like a Friday or a Saturday or a midweek or?
I'm just trying to drag up a calendar. So I go to Vegas for a conference on like the 10th, I think. So is that the first?
Okay, the 10th would be the second Saturday.
So February 2nd is Friday, February 3rd is Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, the 10th is the following Saturday.
I'm okay to do the 1st, 2nd, or the 3rd, any of those days.
Okay. Well, the 1st is Thursday, so that's the call day. So it would have to be either Friday or Saturday. And the other thing, too, is the possibility of doing these things across Zoom. I'll have to see how many people would actually want to show up and want to come and do it here. You know, it's kind of hard to do these type of things across Zoom. You know, we do them, you know, during the week here, and but we can. I'm open to anything really. You know, whatever's going to help. I know you're close, Cheryl. So
Easier for me to show up because I can actually block the time out and hide from people. Other than that, I got people tracking me down all over the place. You know?
Okay, so you mean like coming to the event here?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it really blocks the time off and says you cannot reach me. Other than that,
Yeah, I know that is problematic with, you know, with the Zoom calls, because any little distraction and okay, you know, the rest of the group's going, you just turn the screen off and you're gone, and it's not, it doesn't flow the same.
I think what might help people with Zoom for like when, you know, if we had a specific agenda, like we're going to work on this part of maybe Facebook ads or this part with your website, she could, you know, she could tie in and maybe do some screen sharing for the people that aren't able to be there.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
The other thing that would help would be a microphone that's on the table so you can hear everybody speaking.
Okay.
Because the last time that we did it, it was all coming through John's computer. And it was great when John was speaking, but when others were speaking, it was hard to hear.
Yeah, well, I actually have that set up now, so that might be a little easier. So it really just kind of depends on how many people we're talking about showing up live. It doesn't matter online. We could have as many as we want show up virtually.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it depends on where we meet and, you know, what I have to do to put that together. If it's just a small group, we could actually do it in my new office. Everything's set up. I've got, you know, everything sitting right here. If it's larger, then, you know, we got to move to a bigger spot like the Tiki Hut or you know, the big formal dining room or something like that.
We could always like put the couch and whatnot out into the driveway and set up tables in your office, you know.
Yeah, we could do that. I could rent the big circus tent again and have a big party afterwards.
Right.
So, all right, well, let's plan on Saturday the 3rd. How does that sound?
Works for me.
All right, so I'm going to put that on our calendar. I will send it out to everybody. Act Mastermind for anyone that wants to come. And as far as times, I know some people drive from a ways in, so I think I would make it like from 10 instead of trying to make it at 9. It'll just make it easier on people, and we'll do like 10 to 12, and then have a lunch break, and then maybe 1 to 3. So that'll give us 4 hours of masterminding and put people back on the road before the traffic. Does that sound like it'll work?
Yeah, Saturdays aren't as bad with traffic, so.
Yeah, oh, that's true. That's true, but
Yeah.
it's a Saturday, so.
Yeah, sure, that works. I'll take anything I can get.
Okay, and then if anybody wants to stay, you know, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So, okay, well, let's do that. We will we'll make that our solid game plan then.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure. So that means that is literally next weekend, next Saturday.
Yikes. Okay.
So cool. And like I said, if it's a challenge to get here, don't worry about it. We'll figure something out to do Zoom so nobody misses out.
I think Gwen's probably ready for a little road trip, right?
She might be, yeah, you never know.
I would love to, but I'd have to tie something else to it also.
Yeah, not just for a one-day mastermind, right?
Yeah, not really, but
Disney
I would
still alive.
love to be a little bit closer, be able to do that. And at this point, though, I'm kind of at that point of looking at reworking the whole website again to make it flow, and then how to tie in my the lead pages and landing pages and all that back into the website to host it, or if I want to just do it on ClickFunnels. So I'm kind of toying with all that and how to best put it all together, because
Yeah,
right now I don't like my website.
That might be an interesting thing to look at ClickFunnels for your entire website. If you've already got ClickFunnels and all you have to do is well, you've got some other stuff running too. You've got your
Yeah, I've got quite a bit running, but I don't have
yeah.
I don't have ClickFunnels yet. I'm waiting till I've got some sort of major plan together to implement it right away before I just buy it.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So that might not be the best line of attack.
Considered though.
Yeah, definitely something to consider for sure. I actually built that Dominator Funnels. That entire website is built on ClickFunnels. So if you want to see that, it's dominatorfunnels.com.
Okay, I did take a look at that.
I did that, just kind of playing around with the idea that I may just send people to that site for funnels, and then I came to my senses and I'm like, nah, that's not right. I need to keep them in the big house.
Right, and that makes sense.
Fragmentation. 2018 is more about clear focus, not fragmentation.
Well, that's what I'm doing, is I'm looking at the one that we did last year that we never got up and running, and I'm looking at it going, there's just too much here, too much for people to get lost in.
Yeah. I just looked at mine again last night, and there's a lot of services and stuff that I've got on there that I really don't want to offer, and I need to clean that up too.
Well, let me know what you cut so I don't put it on mine.
All right, I will do that. But
Thank you.
But yeah, I keep wanting to work less and refine, and it's the whole freedom formula. So I'm living proof of it. I want to work less and make more, and that's every time I cut something. That's exactly what I do. I've got 2 clients that have just driven me nuts for the last 3 or 4 months, and I just cut them loose last night. And they're like, okay, goodbye. It's time to say goodbye. I'm gonna play them the Andre Bocelli song, "Time to Say Goodbye." It's like, this really is not worth my time to deal with people that are not happy, because I can't make them happy no matter what. So I just don't want to be around people like that. So, all right. So anyway, next Saturday, live in person mastermind. We're ready to go. And that's it. That's all I got for you for today. Unless anybody's got anything you want to throw out last minute, we'll wrap up.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Right. Yeah, thank you guys for being on and sharing and making this thing a go. This is really cool. I like the process we got going here, and I love my green screen too.
I'll be green screen next week.
Bye, guys.
All right. See you later.
Hi, thanks, John.
Bye-bye. Thank you.